Don't miss Good American Family.
We have a little girl here for adoption. She has dwarfism.
Starring Ellen Pompeo and Mark Duplass.
Something is off.
She's just a little girl. You think she's faking?
She has adult teeth. There are signs of puberty.
Inspired by the shocking stories that tore a family apart.
I don't know what's going on.
How old are you?
You should get a lawyer.
You have no idea how those people hurt this girl.
The Hulu original series, Good American Family. New episodes Wednesdays, streaming on Hulu.
I love the look of luxury, but knowing that I got it at a great price. And I feel like you're like me too. And that's why I know you're going to love Quince. Quince is my go-to for luxury essentials at affordable prices. I get DMs all the time. Where did you get that sweater? I'm telling you, I got it at Quince. You know why? They offer high-quality items at prices within reach. And the best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. So they do this by partnering directly with top factories. So Quince cuts the cost of the middleman and then passes the savings on to us. And the best part, it only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. And who doesn't love that? In fact, the thing you need to get right now are the toasted almond silk pajamas. It's a beautiful gift for someone in your life or just for yourself. So give yourself the luxury you deserve with Quince. Go to quince.com/KKC for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/KKC to get your free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/KateCasey. Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. Today's episode, Brian Moylan is back with me, and we're going to talk about Bravo shows. We're going to talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion, which premieres the first part this week, but there have been clips that have been put out of Dorit and Sutton fighting and about Dorit's mortgage. So we wanted to deep dive that. We also talk about Southern Charm and the Craig and the Paige breakup. It feels like there is new information every week. Now, some of you are like, I can't talk about this or listen to this breakup story anymore, but I think you might be pleased. And then The Valley on Bravo is back April 15th, and we talk a little bit about the Jax and Brittany of it all. So if you are watching Bravo shows, you're going to love this episode. Also, I wanted to make sure that you checked out my What to Watch list for this week. Gone Girls, The Long Island Serial Killer is on Netflix. It's a 3-part true crime series. I put out my What to Watch list yesterday. I'm already getting DMs that people watched it in one sitting. 3-part true crime series. When do you often hear that? So Gone Girls, The Long Island Serial Killer. Young women who worked in the sex industry were disappearing from New York City and Long Island, and no one was looking for them. And then in 2010, female remains were found in the Gilgo Beach area of Long Island, leading to a string of additional discoveries, all of which seem to be connected. So this is a must-watch true crime series. If you love baseball, check out Fight for Glory 2024 World Series, which went behind the scenes of the Dodgers and the Yankees as they battled for baseball's ultimate prize, a World Series championship. If you are still in that true crime genre, if you're interested in that, check out Hollywood Demons episode this week, Child Stars Gone Violent, where there you have interviews with Brian Bonsall from Family Ties and DJ Daniels from the Hoolies, unpacking the harsh reality of life after fame with producers from Home Improvement and That's So Raven also. And then lastly, I want to tell you, you've got to go over to Peacock because they are airing a documentary that aired about 2 years ago on HBO. I did a whole episode about it. It's one of my great obsessions in life. It's the story of Milli Vanilli. They rose to fame in the late 80s, and they never sang a word in their songs, nor their debut album. And when the truth was finally revealed, they started one of the biggest scandals in music history. It is an unbelievable story, and you think you know it, but you don't. And you can check that out again on Peacock. So lots of stuff on the What to Watch list. Go to katecasey.substack.com. I've got great episodes coming to you this week, and the Saturday series episode is going to blow your hair back too. So make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast and also to the What to Watch list at katecasey.substack.com. And back with me, here is Brian Moylan. Brian, I think we have to begin by talking about the Craig of it all.
I think we do. Oh, my Craig. He's so handsome and so misguided.
Well, I saw a clip this morning that someone posted, and it was of a reunion with Naomi. And she's basically saying, I was not into the relationship anymore, and that's why we broke up. And he just can't accept it. And he's like, if you love someone, you fight for it. I don't care if you were, on drugs, it's unconditional. And she's like, yeah, but when you have had a long day of working and someone comes home and he's like, well, you weren't working, you were going to school. She's like, that's not true. And she's trying to explain her point and frame it in a way that she's like, I am a serious person moving in a serious direction and you are delusional, and he can't accept the breakup. And you can't help but wonder if it's just duplicating history with just another partner. Because I think he was with Naomi for quite some time. And then obviously he was with Paige for 3 years. But there seems to be this pattern, if we look back in history, of his inability to kind of accept a breakup.
No, and I think that's what makes Craig, I think that's what makes Craig great at reality television. It's like, you need to have that sense of delusion. And this is what I always say about Ramona Singer is that, people would be like, oh, doesn't Ramona worry that she looks bad on television? Ramona never thinks she looks bad. Craig never thinks he looks bad.
That's
Craig
true.
is convinced he's the best. Why wouldn't you want me? I'm great. And you're an idiot. And so we see it and be like, Craig is delusional, which might be true, but that's what makes him good at his job.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. And it's the same thing with Naomi too, where I think Craig was feeling insecure about her surpassing him and him not being in that prime position anymore. And he starts being insecure because he feels like he's the best. And then when someone proves he's not, then it's, difficult. But I will say, watching Summer House has been so much more revelatory about this breakup than watching Southern Charm. Because again, Craig doesn't think he did anything wrong. And when Paige is there saying things, we don't get Paige confessionals. So we just see what she's saying in the moment. And Craig isn't really registering any of it. Whereas when you watch Summer House, you see Paige talking to the other girls, Paige talking by herself. And you're like, oh, I get it. I totally get it.
I think you're so right. I also really, I thought it was eye-opening the way that Paige kind of pointed out that behind the scenes, he has some insecurities about her level of success versus his own. Yes. And it does seem like when you look back at that Naomi clip where she is going to school and she wanted to go into finance, that probably was an issue in their relationship too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, Craig's the breakup with Naomi is what's wrong with my sewing. But we have to remember it took Craig's business partners and a lot of other people. Remember when he went to Miss Patricia's to talk about pillows and was woefully unprepared? And, so I think it just takes Craig a lot more to get motivated and get to that point than it takes someone like Paige or Naomi, who is obviously very motivated, very driven by success. Whereas I think Craig seems motivated more by fame than he does by success.
True. I also think the good news is that by the time I think he moves into his next relationship, and we can get to that in a minute, that he's dating somebody else, it does seem like the cards are falling into place. It's just taking Craig a little bit longer. Where we see him in the relationship with Naomi from the beginning to where he is now, I mean, he has built these ancillary projects for himself. And by the time he meets the person he's supposed to be with at the right time of his life, professionally and personally, I think it'll all work out. And I would hope that he looks back at those two relationships, although as painful it is probably right now with Paige, that he can see that those were so helpful in order to get him to a place where he can feel personal and professional success.
Yes. And I don't want to say that Paige deserves a lot of credit for where Craig is now. I don't know if it was Paige telling Craig, you should wear this, or Craig just being around someone who's much more successful and more stylish or whatever. And he's like, oh, I better dress better. But I mean, he's looking better. He's dressing better. He has a whole new personality.
Except on Watch What Happens Live. Did you see what he wore?
No.
Oh, Brian, you will take your phone and throw it out over the window.
It's because Paige is gone. She's not telling him what to wear.
No, I'm going to tell you. That's when you were like, oh, they're over. Because he went on Watch What Happens Live with Shep and Austin. And he wore it almost looked like Night at the Roxbury.
Craig, what are you doing? It looks like he's wearing a Top Gun flight suit.
Yeah.
With a black turtleneck underneath it.
It's weird.
It is weird.
It's very misguided.
Well, and it seems, I would venture to guess, like Paige was like, you should wear turtlenecks, you look in them. And so Craig is taking,
yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I know I look good in these because Paige told me, but then he's like doing it on his own. You know what I mean? It's like when you try to make your mom's mac and cheese and you fuck it all up. Like, it's kind of the same thing.
Well, he was on Watch What Happens Live on March 27th. And Craig said that he didn't witness any red flags firsthand. When we were together in private regarding his relationship with Paige, is what I based our relationship off of. And there were not any signs. And to your point, you see Summer House and you see it all very clearly. Now, Andy had asked Craig why he didn't own up to the breakup when he appeared on Watch What Happens Live in mid-December if it happened just after Thanksgiving. And he said he didn't think the breakup was real at that point. This isn't like
I believe that.
We broke up and it was over and I moved on with my stuff. We had been planning our life together for 3 years and she fantasized about the family and stuff. And so, yes, I had been in a weird place throughout December for which we continued to talk throughout December. And he reiterated that Paige broke up with him over the phone. After a great Thanksgiving weekend together with her parents, she broke up with me on the phone by saying, I think we need to break up. I'm saying I didn't receive it like that. Now, he had revealed that he went to Paige's apartment after that Watch What Happens Live taping to talk about their relationship. Now, he says...
The one in March.
No, in December, mid-December.
Okay.
So he goes to her apartment and he's kind of asking her, what's happening? And according to Craig, she said, I probably am making the worst mistake of my life, but I need to go find myself. And then he claimed he had asked her, well, what do you want me to do with the ring? And she said, well, keep it. Maybe we'll get married at BravoCon. This does not seem to be on track with Paige at all. I cannot imagine her saying, I'm probably making the worst mistake of my life, but I need to go find myself. I don't see her saying that at all. And what do you want to do with the ring? Keep it. Maybe we'll get married at BravoCon. I think we can all collectively agree there is no space in the world for Paige to get married at BravoCon. Like, ever.
Well, no, but I can see how, knowing Paige like we do, that was a joke he took seriously. Like Paige was like, who knows? Maybe one day we'll get married at BravoCon. And he's like, oh, she wants to get married still. You know? Like,
I think? I think the joke was, I know you think I'm making the big mistake of my life and that we should do something like get married at BravoCon, but I don't want to be together.
Yes.
I'm off to Hawaii soon and I've been looking for great dresses, suits, bags, and sandals for my trip. You know who else needs stuff? My almost 16-year-old daughter. Now, where can I find all of those things in one place? Revolve. And I know that you love Revolve too. Over 1,200 brands and 100,000 styles from across high-end, emerging, and exclusive labels in fashion, beauty, and home goods. Consistently offering the latest and most sought-after trends in fashion from top brands like Lovers and Friends, Love Shack Fancy, Misa, and Zimmermann. I just ordered a pink Japanese dress, a gold clutch, gold sandals, and a monogram necklace, and I might even wear it to my niece's graduation too. Authentic, high-quality products, new arrivals daily, inclusive sizing. From last-minute getaways to party dressing and seasonal upgrades, Revolve has you covered with fast 2-day shipping and easy returns, all on them. And for a limited time, you can shop a curated selection of my favorite styles at revolve.com/KateCasey and receive 15% off your first order with code KateCasey. That's revolve.com/Kate Casey to shop my top picks and get 15% off your first order with code Kate Casey. The offer is only valid for a limited time, so do not miss out. Now, we both know that shopping for a rug can be challenging. You've either got insanely expensive handcrafted rugs or the mass-produced alternatives that won't hold up. But that's where Revival Rugs comes in. Revival's founders didn't want to spend thousands on a new rug, but they didn't want to settle for less either. Revival is a global company with teams in the U.S. as well as weaving regions in India, Turkey, and Morocco. Revival works with artisans to preserve rug-making traditions and pass on this value to you. Eliminating middlemen allows them to remove steep markups, giving you amazing value at incredible prices. And Revival's popular washable rugs have the look and feel of a real rug, so you don't have to sacrifice style for convenience. And my favorite, which I ordered, is the sweatshirt rug, and I also love the stripe rug. So spruce up your space with Revival Rugs. Visit revivalrugs.com/realitylife and use code KateCasey20 for 20% off your first order. That's revivalrugs.com/realitylife, code KateCasey20. One more time, revivalrugs.com/realitylife with code KateCasey20 to save 20%.
To Craig's credit, and we saw the same thing happen with Naomi, where remember how long it took for him to get like, we are broken up.
Yeah.
Like I could see how in Craig's mind, when he was on Watch What Happens Live and didn't say anything, he thought they were still going to get back together. Like he thought they were going to figure it out. Either that or he just it hadn't sunk in yet. So I think he's telling the truth about that. The other stuff, I just feel, again, like Craig thinks so highly of himself for, better or worse, that, that's the way he's hearing those things is like, but also I feel like Paige has already broken up with this guy once, which can't be easy. And now here he is back in her apartment. She has to break up with him again. And she doesn't want to say like, girl, it's over. I'm sick of you. Here's the shit that you did. Because they're both going to be at BravoCon regardless,
Right. She can't fully cut it off like you could if you were in a relationship with a normal person. You don't go to that area of the city. You don't go to parties where your friends will cross over. She's stuck in this vortex with him and people asking about it every day. And same for Craig too. Like the people are going to ask about Paige.
You look at West and Sierra on Summer House and he's like, oh, you're talking shit about me to all my friends. Well, yeah, because your friends are asking her about him because you're on a reality show together. You know what I mean? Whereas in the real world, he would have just ghosted her and they never would have seen each other ever again. And so, I think these things put these people in weird situations. And I think we need to have a little bit of respect for that because they do it for our entertainment. So thanks, guys. But also,
Well, then he said 2 days before New Year's that she had texted him and said, I want you to know I talked about it on my podcast that we're no longer together. So that would have been December 30th. And then he says all of his stuff just showed up on his porch one day. And that's when it became real. Craig also addressed the rumors about whether she had left him for another man. And he said that she had said to him, Craig, I'm not talking or dating anyone. And then she said some crazy stuff, according to Craig. It doesn't matter. It's not crazy. She was just like, why didn't you try to get me back? And I was like, I've been trying to get you back. That's not fair. And then she was like, I think it's very clear that we have both made the right decision. And I was like, we didn't make this decision. I would have never left. Those are his exact quotes. But I think that sending this stuff home is like, I don't know what else I can do to make it more clear.
If you are somebody as successful and attractive and witty and charming as Paige DeSorbo, there are men presenting themselves to you all the time. All the time. And I think that, I don't know that she was dating somebody, but I feel like things are not going great with Craig. She's at enough parties or whatever and meeting these guys. And she's like, I would rather date this guy than Craig. And I believe that she did tell Craig, like, she's not talking to anybody, because I think that's true. And I also think it might be hard for Craig because it's one thing if he cheated or there was some, like, they got in a huge fight or there was some, like, incident. Like, I don't think that there was an incident. I think it was just, like, growing apart and Paige getting more successful and Craig being a little bit resentful of that, and then Paige being resentful of his resentment. And then, it's hard to say, like, here are the reasons I'm breaking up with you when there's not like a reason.
One thing. Yeah, I saw a clip where she said when she has a bit of success, the first man that she calls is her father. And she has yet to meet someone thus far that they would replace that first call with her dad. And I think if you're with somebody for 3 years and that person is really at a point where they want to get married and have kids, and you're probably talking to your parents with whom you probably have the closest relationship, and you start mentioning all these little cracks in the foundation, something like, I'm going to get the ring. That's when you start to put and she may have actually said to him, this is the kind of ring I like. But when it really comes down to that moment, he's going to propose, it makes you sweat. If you know it's not the right person and you're not going to be fully happy, it's devastating for both people.
Well, and I also feel like because they got so far along, Paige is, in the shower, imagining what it's going to be like when Craig proposes. And at a certain point, she's like, oh I don't want that. Please don't do that. And that's when you have to be like, oh. I have another thing that I've been thinking about, which I don't know whether or not there's any validity to it.
Oh, but then it probably is right.
It's a little something I've been trying on, which is this all happened very shortly after the most recent election.
Oh, you're right.
Paige lives in New York City.
Yep.
And seems to be quite liberal.
Mm-hmm.
Craig lives in the South and maybe might have voted a different way.
Well, people said there was he had a Finsta account with accounts that he followed that would sound in the way that you're saying it very different from hers. Yeah, that could be possible because if they were together on Thanksgiving on the heels of an election, that was
we were
a
all
heavy
talking
time.
about it.
Yeah, it was a heavy time. Yep. Because if you have all the other cracks, you're like, I feel like I have to suppress my excitement about professional successes. I live in a different city. I don't see myself getting married and having children in that part of the country. All those little things, maybe an election would be the last thing. Because you're right.
That was really our first that I can think of cross-show Bravo romance, right?
I think you're right. We've weathered the storm. Yes.
Is there anyone else we want to set up across, franchises?
Oh, I have an idea.
Okay.
PK and Sally from Southern Charm. She said she likes older guys.
I think it's so weird that almost all of the gay men on Bravo right now are in Charleston. There's 6 of them. Because there's Rodrigo and the husband, and then that weird Ryan and his husband, and Michaels and TJ on Southern Hospitality. It's there are 12 gay people in Charleston, and 6 of them are on a reality show.
Is it the new Palm Beach?
Is it the new Palm Beach? Maybe. I don't know. It seems, I don't know. Palm Beach just seems older to me.
Yes.
That's where housewives go to get arrested. Whereas Charleston is where we go to get arrested on our vacation that we're taking to Charleston.
By the way, the good people responded in a flood. They are so excited about our forthcoming trip to Charleston. Again, I put this out into the world. Somebody who is really skilled in the art of putting together events, please reach out to us because frankly, we're too disorganized to put this whole thing together. But we are eager to go visit. My own sister said she'd come and Lord knows that never happened. So people are excited.
You posted it on your story and I reposted it. And my dad, who's my only family member who's on Instagram, was like, when do you go to Charleston? I was like,
can he come too?
No, Dad, it's a whole thing. Oh my God, they would love it. They would be totally lost. So they would love Charleston, but they would be like, Shep, what? Craig, what?
Well, my sister doesn't know who anybody is either. So they can all hang out together.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Well, good. Okay, so apparently Craig is dating an influencer, Nicole, and hopefully he's super happy. There you go.
She is giving me very Taylor Ann Green vibes.
Yeah.
Just from looking at her. She looks like all of those Charleston girls, which great.
Well, that's great because that's, I think, what he really wants to be with. I'm telling you, like we've said it before, a guy's married in under a year.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And I think I don't think Craig can handle another Naomi or Paige. Like he needs somebody who's going to be a little bit more in the background supporting him rather than somebody who has a lot of ambition of her own. It seems like.
I think you're right. Well, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills airs the first part of their reunion. And I wanted to talk to you about one of the clips from this first part of the reunion. So Dorit responds to reports that her home is in pre-foreclosure. She addresses how often she speaks to PK. And obviously Dorit and Sutton have had their battles this season. I mean, these two could not despise each other more. Dorit's discussing her finances and defending herself against Sutton. As we know, last November, it was reported that Dorit and PK's home was in pre-foreclosure after they missed 4 payments on the $7.5 million home. When people start talking about specific numbers, like I get hives. It makes me so sad and uncomfortable. I hate it. I hate it. So,
oh my God. I want to know that Teresa Giudice owes a shit ton of money to the feds, but you're right. I don't want a dollar amount. Like the dollar amount makes me break out in hives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, because we're from the Northeast and nobody talks about money. Like you would never, ever, ever talk about. So it makes me so uncomfortable. And then, of course, I worry because they have kids. I'm like, that's the whole thing. So when they show the clip, Andy says that Sutton has mentioned Dorit's finances quite a bit this season and asks what she believes a forensic accountant would find in their financial history. So Sutton says, I don't know, these forensic accountants will get you. And then Andy asks if Sutton's worried for Dorit, to which she responds, yes. Dorit then says to Sutton, you have to actually care about someone to have compassion, like someone to be worried about them.
I don't think that's true.
I also thought...
I'm worried about Teresa's tax bill and I fucking hate her.
Exactly. Okay, so Sutton then goes on to say she cares about all the women and and then asks whose name is on the mortgage. And then Dorit says, do you really think I'm going to sit here and answer any questions that you're asking me? I'm talking about you supporting women. I'm talking about you having compassion for women. And then says, it's not about whose name is on the mortgage. Seeing the conversation was like going absolutely nowhere, Andy jumps back in and asked if the home is in pre-foreclosure, as the reports had said. And then Dorit said, no, there are reports that it was in pre-foreclosure. I had no idea about it. Then Dorit says, PK told me that he changed the rate. He was trying to get a hold of somebody. No one's returning his calls. That's the way he does business. Until they give him his call back, he's not going to pay. He resolved it. Listen, they ended up calling, and that's what he said. And I think Bo says something like, well, that's how you lose a house. And then, of course, at the end of that, he asks about the status of their marriage. And she says, as of a week ago, I've chosen not to have much of a relationship with him. I really did feel like that was an important moment when you look in broad scope of like Housewives. And it has opened up a conversation over its history of when a divorce happens and these couples that have been married for quite some time, the transparency between spouses and how oftentimes the one spouse who's kind of had their head in the clouds is left in a precarious financial legal situation. And I thought that really spoke to it. So I wanted to know what you thought about that.
No, I agree with you. And I was just thinking about we always want our housewives to have the trappings of wealth, right? To look like they're real, we're always, oh, she's real rich or, oh, she's poor, whatever. And you think about Gina on Orange County, Jen Pedranti, like all these people who have gone through divorces and been very clear about the financial peril they've been in and the difficulty that they're having around it and how there's no money and whatever. And even Tamara, when she got divorced from Simon, remember, she had to go get a real estate license, move into a little,
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think we really need rich housewives. I think we need honest housewives, true housewives. And Sutton's whole thing, she made that comment about the wallet, which I think is disgusting. But then in the after show, she kind of explained it as Dorit is lying to us, and she's lying to you, and she's always trying to make the marriage look the best. She's trying to make it look like she has the most money, whatever. And I think that if Sutton had focused on the lies rather than the amount of money, her argument would have gone a lot better. And I think that we're still seeing it where Dorit's spinning it. Oh, it wasn't in foreclosure. It was in pre-foreclosure. And PK got out of it, and here's how he fixed it, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, be truthful with us. And I think that that's what Sutton is really getting at with Dorit is be honest, like show us the real thing. Because to your point, yes, like women need to know what it's going to be like when they go through a divorce. And I think the reality is way more like we see with Jen Pedranti and those guys than we do with whatever Dorit and PK are going through.
This show is sponsored by Liquid IV. Now, you know I've said that my goal this year is to stay more hydrated. You can gift yourself the everyday indulgence of extraordinary hydration from Liquid IV, powered by Live Hydroscience. They've got true-to-fruit flavors that keep you hydrated. And you can find all your favorite hydration multiplier flavors on their website. I have to say my favorite flavor is the sugar-free raspberry lemonade because it's a bright, zero sugar flavor combining notes of ripe, freshly picked raspberries and citrusy, zesty lemon. And it really gets me going on my day. I think you're going to love it too. I like feeling like I'm hydrated all day long. And if you're somebody who's outdoors or plays sports, this is an absolute must-have. You can break the mold and own your own ritual. Just 1 stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. It's 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink. And also 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. Treat yourself to extraordinary hydration from Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code KateCasey at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code KateCasey at liquidiv.com. There are so many things in life we just never get around to. Taking up that hobby, cleaning out the garage, the little things that don't really make huge differences in our lives. Yet, there's one thing that most of us have probably been neglecting that can have a huge impact on our family's future. It's life insurance. And with SelectQuote, getting covered with the right policy for you is easier and more affordable than you may think. SelectQuote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. If you have high blood pressure, no problem. If you have diabetes, that's fine too. And even if you have heart disease, SelectQuote partners with carriers that can cover those conditions and others. Head to selectquote.com and a licensed insurance agent will call you right away with the right policy for your life and your budget. SelectQuote, they shop and you save. So get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/realitylife. Go to selectquote.com/realitylife today and get started. That's selectquote.com/realitylife. I bring this up because I thought there are a lot of parallels between Dorit and Craig. And there is a sense of like their coping mechanism is to just sort of compartmentalize in such a way that they put it so deep somewhere else.
No, I see what you're saying. Whereas like when Craig is confronted with the truth, of like, maybe his bad behavior towards Paige or not being let's not even call it bad. Let's say not being as supportive as she would have liked to be, whatever. He kind of denies or like becomes like a victim or like, oh, here are the things she did to me, whereas Dorit, when confronted with the truth, does the opposite kind of, which is, it's not that bad. Like, oh, you have it all wrong. Like, you're the one, you know what I mean? And so it's like, I think the same impulse, but in different directions. Whereas Craig's taking it inward and Dorit's pointing it outward. But both of them are refusing to admit like the concrete, hard truth, especially with Dorit, where it's like numbers on a bank balance, Dorit does this for show reasons. Dorit does it because she feels like she needs to present a certain face to the world. And I think Craig it's like a Bryn Whitfield thing where it's like, I don't think he even knows or sees himself doing it. Like it's such like, because it's not like, same with Bryn, like that Craig makes things up, like crazy things. It's always just like a little twist or a misremember or a, you know, and I think that is much more of a coping mechanism. Like Craig always trying to make sure his view of the world fits in with, you know, what he's seeing. You know, so he, rather than change himself, he'd rather change the world. Whereas again, Dorit, I think, is trying to change perception rather than trying to change the reality. Does that make sense?
It does.
Am I making sense?
And I also think both of them seem to live in the comments. There are two people that really live in the comments of like, and I feel like they live too much in the show vortex.
I remember when I was working on Erica Jane's book, we talked about this and like social media and like how things, you know, affect you as a person on these shows. And I remember she told me the problem with the comments or the tweets or whatever is that you want to believe all the nice ones of saying like, you're great, you dress well, you're beautiful, whatever. But in order to believe those, you have to believe all the terrible ones too. That say you should kill yourself, you're ugly, you're horrible, whatever. And so the only way to survive is to not look at any of them, including the good ones, you know? And I feel like you're right. Both of them could stand to step away. And that's something we see, even we see Dorit lodge at Garcelle in the trailer for the reunion saying, oh, who believes that? You and 4 people on Twitter. Whereas I don't think Garcelle is looking at Twitter or conducting herself based on Twitter like Dorit might be, or a lot of other Bravo type people are.
Certainly not to the same degree. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the other thing is, no matter what you do, there are going to be people who love you and people that hate you. It's true of everyone on every one of these shows. It's probably true of all of us. And there's nothing you can do to change those people's minds. So you might as well just be yourself and do what you want to do. And I think that that's the place Erica got to through all the Tom Girardi stuff was like, you're going to hate me regardless. So fuck you. I'm just going to do what I want. And I think that is the most powerful place to come from. I write these recaps that I'm mean to women. I come on your show and talk about how much I hate Teresa, whatever. I'm just as guilty as anybody else. But at least I try to, if the ladies want to know what I think, they have to go looking for it. I'm not posting on their Instagrams. I'm not tagging them. I'm not, you know, and I think that we could all benefit from leaving everybody alone a little bit.
Well, the last part I want to ask you about is the Valleys coming back on April 15th. So returning are Danny and Nia, Luke and Kristen, Jason and Janet, Brittany, Jasmine, Jesse, Michelle, Jax, Zach. And then joining our the season as friends are Jasmine, Michelle, and Zach's significant others. Friendly faces that show up include Lala, Tom Schwartz, Sheena, and Brock. So they're still just like, they're not even considered friends of the show. They just call them friendly faces. I think they're going to be like at parties. They're going to be like Camille Grammer or Faye Resnick. Oh, yeah. So after 10 years of marriage, Jack is at an emotional crossroads as he deals with the separation from Brittany. And he decides to seek the professional help that everyone has encouraged him to get. And he checks himself into a mental health facility and tries to work on his anger. Now, as we're going to be watching this, we now know because Brittany has come out in podcasts saying that she didn't really think he took it seriously. How much does that bum you out? That as we watch this season of The Valley kind of play out, what's happening between Jax and Brittany, they've already litigated in social media.
I used to be like, oh, save it for the show. But now I feel like if the drama and the narrative is good enough, it doesn't, like, we knew Paige and Craig broke up before either of these shows aired, but I think all enjoyed watching, knowing what's going to happen, you know, like knowing it's falling apart, looking for the cracks, looking for the strain, looking
like
to
a true crime doc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And so, we're trying to like find Jean Benet or whatever the fuck. Yeah. And so I am gonna be interested to see it play out on television. What I think is weird about Jax is I always say that we don't want our reality people to change. We want them to evolve, right? We want them to learn a lesson or two. Think about someone like the Countess, who went from telling Bethany not to introduce her to her driver by her first name to getting arrested, to falling into a bush, to starting a cabaret show, whatever. She's remained Luann, but she's changed and evolved. Jax Taylor has done neither. Like, he is the exact same person. And I feel like he is incapable of doing that without a lot of really deep work. And so I agree with Brittany. It is hard to believe him, and because we've seen him so many times say it's Jax 2.0. I'm a new person. I've changed. I'm a dad now, whatever. And he's still the exact same Jax Taylor. And I think the problem for this also is it gets boring for viewers to see Jax behave terribly in the same exact ways over and over and over again for, God, what is it? 12, 13 years now since we first met him. So yeah, I think that Jax would be smart to actually do some of the work and take it seriously and maybe evolve a little bit. And before I go, I just want to let everybody know, since we're speaking about the Valley / Vanderpump Rules.
What?
Gina Shea's husband, Brock Davies Shea, has recently completed an Ironman.
Oh.
And there are Speedo pictures available.
Good for him. That's rough. Wow.
So check it out.
Like the Ironman in Hawaii? Did he do that one?
Yeah. Well, I think it wasn't like the full whatever, but he did a whole like triathlon competition or whatever the fuck. But that Brock looks good.
You think? You love him?
Oh, yeah.
Is he, in your mind, hotter than Kyle? Or they're bringing two different things to the table? I think Brock might be hotter than Kyle, but he is not more handsome than Kyle. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So go look for those. Give yourself a little treat from Brian Moylan. You're welcome. And to answer your question, you can find me on all social media platforms at Brian J. Moylan. And you can sign up for my newsletter, the Housewives Institute Bulletin. It comes out every 2 weeks on Friday. That's at vulture.com/housewives. And yeah, I'll be recapping The Valley. I'm recapping Summer House and Survivor on Vulture. So those are up as soon as the episodes are done. So go check it out, guys.
I have an idea for the newsletter.
Okay, I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay. What if you wrote dating profiles for the ones that are single, the housewives that are single, or any Bravo celebrity that's single? That was your challenge and you wrote it for them.
Oh my God, that would be hilarious. And I think I might save that for like next Valentine's Day.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
And then we'll do like some Valentine's Day dating profiles. But that is an excellent idea. I'm very excited for the Love Hotel to come out.
Am I? No, but okay.
I'm looking forward to watching it. I think it's a great cast. I want to see some drama. We'll see how the ladies do.
Well, I have a story about Love Hotel, but I'm going to save it for when it airs.
Okay. I can't wait to hear it.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Hi.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my great guest, Brian Moylan, and remind you to click subscribe, leave a 5-star review. Hey, get in that Facebook group, Reality Life with Kate Casey. You can also get my What to Watch list at katecasey.substack.com. Bonus episodes, extra episodes for you by going to Patreon, patreon.com/Kate Casey. And then follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at KatecaseyCA, TikTok, it's Kate Casey, and Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at Kate Casey. Check back tomorrow for an all-new episode.
Hey everybody, we have some exciting news that we want to share. If you want to go on an adventure with Generation Y, we'd love for you to join us. January 26th through the 30th, 2026, we'll be sailing from Miami to the Bahamas on Wondery's first ever true crime cruise aboard the Norwegian Joy. Aaron and I will be there to chat, hang out, dive into all things true crime, and we're thrilled to be joined by some familiar voices in the true crime podcasting world. Surti and Hannah from Red Handed, Sashi and Sarah from Scamfluencers, and Carl Miller from Kill List. Super excited to hang out with them too. We got some cool activities, interactive mysteries we can solve, testing our forensic skills with a blood spatter expert, and so much more. So for some sun, fun, and just the right amount of mystery solving, come join us.
Ready to jump on this seriously epic adventure? Book your cabin right now at exhibitccruise.com.